A warm welcome to all the viewers. Myself, I am Prashant Prachand. I represent National Securities Depository Limited. So NSDL, all the viewers are aware in this country that NSDL brought the concept of electronic or rather electronic shares or dematerialization of shares. So we all were in an era of paper shares, physical shares, which we got converted into electronic form, and then we hold them in demat accounts. So NSDL is the pioneer, the first and largest depository in this country. So it needs no introduction. So I will introduce myself. Prashant Prachand. I am associated with NSDL since last more than 22 years. Now NSDL has, in this year, it will complete 27 years of its existence. So NSDL started in 1996. Now here I will be talking with you, and I will be talking on something what is called as KYC registration. So NSDL has a 100% subsidiary which is named as NSDL Database Management Limited, NDML. So it's a 100% subsidiary fully owned by NSDL. Now, this subsidiary is registered with SEBI as a KYC registration agency in year 2012. So, KYC registration agency, I will be talking about in two parts. First part would be the concept, evolution, features, what are there in a KRA, what benefits it brings to the investors, to the financial ecosystem, and definitely the SEBI market intermediaries, we call them, or SEBI registered intermediaries. So, that is what I will be talking about. So from here on, we look at the various benefits, the evolution, the concept of KRA. And the second part of my talk would be on the KYC modes and how really the KYC verification and validation happens at NDML KRA. So let us move to the first part now. That is the evolution, conceptualization, the features, the controls at NDML KRA. So viewers, again a warm welcome. As I mentioned that we will be looking at the aspects of NDML KRA, that is NDML KYC Registration Agency, which is registered with SEBI, and how really the evolution happened, how really we move ahead from 2012 till 2023, what are the changes which have happened in this part of my presentation. So basically the agenda of this talk would be, as a KYC registration agency, how we evolved and what are the salient features. Then there are different KRAs. There are 6 KRAs as on date which are registered with SEBI, and we have interoperability among each other. So basically this interoperability is for the benefit of the marketplace. So how really we are interoperable and what are the features of interoperability, that we will be looking at. Then we touch base on the KYC process flow, because in next part of my presentation, the detailed how really the KYC gets registered, verified and validated at NDML KRA, we are going to look at that. Then I'm going to talk about the benefits basically to the investor. As an investor, definitely SEBI has been empowering the investor by getting different measures. So one of them is a KYC registration agency, which is for the benefit of investors, for SEBI registered intermediaries, and of course the whole marketplace. Then I will be speaking about regulatory oversight, that how really the regulator SEBI has oversight on KRAs. I will be talking on the future roadmaps, what really is a roadmap, what is being envisaged, and how really the KYC process in this country is going to be becoming more vigilant and more investor friendly. And lastly, we will talk of NDML KRA, what kind of data security, what kind of controls, and what are the features what we have which are beneficial to the marketplace. Now here you can see that KRA has evolved over last 11 to 12 years, and basically the companies or entities who can be KRAs are either the market infrastructure intermediaries or the qualified RTAs who can become KRAs. And we all operate under what? We all operate under SEBI KRA regulations 2011. So the KYC process, what is being designed and what is being structured, is in line with Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, that is PMLA 2002. Then as a KRA, we have KYC records of individuals, we have KYC records of non-individuals, and we have KYC records of foreign portfolio investors. Now, most important or unique feature in this KRA evolution is something wherein we have two things. One is any KYC record which is identified by a PAN. So basically it's unique and it is held with only one KRA. And basically it means that if my PAN is held with NDML KRA, so NDML KRA is the parent KRA for my KYC. Definitely there is another feature which is interoperability. Interoperability is nothing but if I go to any of the SEBI registered intermediaries for modification of my KYC, and they can modify my KYC through any other KRA, because NDML KRA is linked with any of the other 5 KRAs, due to which the modification request will flow to NDML KRA. Now, there are instances or there are permissions in India for certain citizens for who have an exemption from PAN. So it is like they are not required to procure or to hold a PAN. So here we have a unique feature wherein for such citizens of this country permitted by Government of India, we issue PECRANs. So basically PECRAN is a unique number which is generated by NDML KRA, and such records or such KYC records or such KYC holders who are exempted from holding a PAN are allotted PECRANs by us. Now, the KYC uploads or the KYC record is uploaded by the intermediary and verified by KRA. So basically, this concept is very unique, wherein any investor, any citizen of this country will approach a SEBI registered intermediary for availing capital market or securities market services, and the intermediary will upload the KYC record to NDML KRA, which will be verified and validated by NDML KRA. So basically it's a two-way thing, wherein PMLA Act 2002, as per the directions, the intermediary is also verifying the KYC, doing the client due diligence, CDD what we call it, and again as a KRA, NDML KRA also verifies and validates the record. Now we continue with some of the other salient features, wherein we have whenever any intermediary, mostly custodians, when they fetch a KYC of a foreign portfolio investor, so there is a consent based mechanism based on a OTP which is sent to the FPI authorized official. So basically any FPI, foreign portfolio investor, unless he provides the consent, the KYC record of the FPI is not provided as a download to any of the intermediary. There is an audit trail of the record, the KYC record. Maybe like if there is a record which is uploaded to NDML KRA in 2012, and if there are 5-6 modifications happened in the record, so we have a complete audit trail that who has modified it, which intermediary has done it, who is the official of the intermediary who has done it. So this complete audit trail of the record is maintained in NDML KRA system. Now in case of modification of KYC record, now in this modification what happens, that supposedly like KYC record, my KYC record is uploaded by say broker A to NDML KRA. Now subsequently another 3 brokers, broker B, C, D, do a modification in that record at different point of time. Now when such modifications are verified and validated by NDML KRA, so let me tell you that the system is set up in such a way that my updated KYC record will be downloaded to broker A, broker B, broker C, and broker D. So this is a systemic and automatic process which is set up at NDML. NDML will provide the download of the updated KYC record to all the SEBI registered intermediaries, that is broker A, B, C, D, who has dealt with my KYC, firstly who has uploaded, and second the other 3 are the ones which have modified my KYC. Now the interoperability is something which is the best feature as far as the investor and marketplace is concerned. So if it happens that in this case what we considered broker A, B, C, D, so in case broker A has directly uploaded to NDML KRA, so that's why NDML KRA is the parent KRA for my KYC record. Now if broker B or broker C or broker D uploads the modification of my KYC record through any of the other 5 KRAs, that record, that modification request will flow to NDML KRA, wherein we will verify and validate, and we confirm that or we validate that the modification in the KYC record is fine. So basically my SEBI registered intermediary, they may go to any KRA, but definitely as all KRAs are interoperable, the request has to come or has to flow to NDML KRA. Now, there are three basic things which are the requirements of the KRA. So one is PAN, that is the copy of PAN. Of course, this is a SEBI requirement. And second is proof of identity, that is POI, and proof of address. Now, all these three things are required as a supporting document along with the KYC application form to be uploaded to NDML KRA. Now, this data, whatever is uploaded, the KYC data of any investor which gets uploaded to NDML KRA, that is verified with this PAN, proof of identity and proof of address documents, and other information is verified by NDML KRA team, post which the record is validated or verified. That is the KYC of the investor is registered. Now we continue with some more salient features. So wherein you can see in this that KRA is an omni-channel based system. So we serve all forms of customers. So as I said, we serve individuals, we serve non-individual, we serve FPIs, and there are different KYC modes. So there are 6 KYC modes which are active in our system, in which the KYC data can be uploaded, that we will be talking about in detail in second part of my talk or the presentation. All KRAs are interoperable. As I said, that all KRAs are having uniform KYC norms. So uniform KYC norms, when I say, there is no regulatory arbitrage. SEBI has given uniform KYC norms for the market intermediaries, and all KRAs have to follow it. And the reusage of existing KYC is the most important, most salient feature of a KRA, wherein any KYC record which is registered and validated can be reused by any other intermediary for onboarding the investor, for providing capital market and securities market services. Now, as we spoke earlier, that any KYC modification happening in a KYC record, so the download of the updated KYC flows systemically, flows automatically to all the intermediaries who have taken the download of the KYC record for onboarding the investor. So it is like in a case wherein my address is supposedly at Chennai and it gets updated to Mumbai, and I have dealt with 4 brokers in the market. So basically all these 4 brokers will be getting a download of my updated KYC record wherein the address has been modified from Chennai to Mumbai. Now, there is one more agenda item what I have spoken about earlier is interoperability. Now, interoperability is, there are 6 KRAs which are registered. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see in the slide, these are the 6 KRAs, and NDML KRA is one of the 6 KRAs. All the 6 KRAs are interoperable. Now, what are the features of interoperability? So we have demonstrated the scalability, because we have now maybe more than 10 crore KYC records. So scalability is there and resilience is there. Now we are servicing to variety of distribution models. The KYC modes, as I told, we will be speaking on KYC modes in detail in my second part of the talk or the presentation. So we have KYC modes and variety of customer profiles. Then we have a model for servicing of the investors which are exempted from PAN requirement by Government of India. Then we have uniformity of KYC norms, wherein the onboarding process and the due diligence process is uniform across all KRAs. That is as per the SEBI directions. So there is no arbitrage in the processes. And direct access channels for investors is there, wherein if at all the investor is having any grievance, is having any complaint with respect to his KYC updation or incorrectness of this KYC, what is uploaded to the KRA, the most important is that we have a channel for the investor to directly approach NDML KRA about his KYC and complain to us, so that we dig deep into the complaint and we resolve and we see to it that the investor KYC related concerns are addressed. Now, this is something which is a small diagram with respect to the KRA KYC process flow. Now here, in flow one, first part one, what is the first part? Investor is approaching any of the intermediary. Now the intermediary is of his choice, any broker, any DP, any PMS provider, any mutual fund, any AMC. What investor is approaching of his choice, and he will submit the PAN along with the proof of identity and proof of address, and along with the KYC application form. Now, let me tell you here that the KYC application form is specified by SEBI. So again, it is uniform across all KRAs, all 6 KRAs. Now, second part is whenever an investor approaches, the intermediary checks whether the investor's KYC record is registered with any of the KRA. Now, this is important because we spoke of a salient feature wherein any KYC record which is registered and validated already with the KRA, there is no need for the intermediary or the investor to do the KYC or to submit all these documents. Just the intermediary can take a download of that KYC record from the KRA, and then they can use it for onboarding the customer. Now, in case if at all the KYC record of the investor is not registered or not validated, then the KYC application form along with the supporting documents, as we already spoke about, that is PAN, proof of identity and proof of address. So these documents with a duly ink signature or the wet signature or the e-signature of the investor is to be submitted by the intermediary to the KRA. Now, in case of fresh KYC or in case of modification of KYC, these are collected by the intermediary. So intermediary will collect the KYC application form, which is duly signed either with ink signature or the wet signature or e-signature. And then along with that, the copy of PAN, proof of identity and proof of address. Now here, the KYC data of the investor as a part of this process in flow 5, the KYC details are uploaded by the intermediary to NDML KRA, and it is using secure mechanism. Now, what are the security? What is the control? We'll see at the end of this presentation only. But just to talk about it, we have a two-factor authentication mechanism wherein the security is highest for the intermediary to upload the KYC data and of course the document. Then once the KYC data is uploaded and the documents are uploaded by the respective intermediary to NDML KRA, we send an intimation to the investor for creation, modification or access of KYC record. So basically, we are directly contacting or communicating with the investor with respect to his creation or modification of the KYC record. And of course, in flow 7, whenever there is a modification, as I earlier mentioned, that this KYC data with the modified KYC is auto pushed or systemically pushed to all the intermediaries with whom the investor has dealt with or who have downloaded his data or who have modified his data earlier. So basically, the updated KYC systemically is received by all the brokers or all the DPs or all the PMS providers with whom an investor has dealt with. So this is a brief about the process flow. In my next part of the presentation, we will see with each KYC mode or mode of KYC in which the KYC data gets uploaded, how really it gets verified and validated. Now this flow we continue, you can see in the block diagram. So customer is the key. Either he is existing to market or new to market. Whenever existing to market means that his KYC record is already registered or validated with the KRA. So that KYC data, that KYC record along with supporting documents can be downloaded by the intermediary and customer due diligence is done and the investor is onboarded for providing capital market or securities market services. Now, if NTM customer, so new to market is the KYC data of that investor or the customer is not registered and validated with any of the KRAs. So here the intermediary is verifying the PAN, then email, mobile is verified, ID or address, photograph is taken, bank account gets verified, live photo with geotagging. Now, when we say live photo here, we are referring to the online onboarding process of the investor. And there are certain consent, declaration, do's and don't documents and all for the trading and demat account. And subsequently, the KYC application form is e-signed, verified by the intermediary and uploaded to the KRA. So all these verifications are also done by KRA, which we will be looking at in detail in my second part of the talk or the presentation. Now, here we move to the benefits to the investor. Now, investor benefits first and foremost, what we spoke about is KYC, which is registered and validated, is reusable. So here, investor needs to submit the KYC document only once to any of the intermediary. Once he has submitted, once his KYC gets registered or validated, he doesn't have to submit it. Whenever he opens any relationship with any other intermediary, the other intermediary has to just take a download of the KYC and the document from the KRA and use it for onboarding the customer. And second most important benefit for the investor is if the investor is not comfortable with online submission of the document. So KYC application form along with self-attested PAN, proof of identity and proof of address documents can be submitted with a weight or ink signature in physical form. So here we have both modes, physical as well as online. Now, third benefit is there is a notification directly received by the investor from KRA. So basically, investor will receive directly a communication on creation or modification of his KYC record. Now, for modification, again, if there is an update in my address or if there is an update in any of the other details. So basically, as we all know that there are 6 KYC attributes which are identified by SEBI and depositories and stock exchange, which are very important. And at any point of time, the investor has to keep them updated. So these 6 attributes such as PAN, address, email, mobile, income, date of birth, all these attributes are to be updated at any point of time. So, so for the investor, he can approach to any of the intermediary which is registered with SEBI for updation of his KYC record. And we have one very important benefit for the investor is whenever the KYC record gets registered or validated, so investor has to just quote his PAN. So you can say, or one can say that PAN is a KYC identifier. So basically, PAN is the sole KYC identifier with any of the KRAs. So based on PAN, the KYC record can be traced, searched, and downloaded. Now, we go to the benefits to SEBI registered intermediaries. So when we talk of intermediaries have an option to tie up with single KRA or multiple KRAs as per their preference. So that is very important. So the marketplace is open. Whichever KRA gives good service, the intermediaries are free to approach and connect and integrate with that KRA or multiple KRAs. The intermediaries can integrate with a single KRA. However, they can download KYC record or held with any other KRA from that one single KRA. So this feature of interoperability between KRAs is a point of convenience for the intermediaries, wherein intermediary connects with one KRA, but they get download of the KYC record held with any of the 6 KRAs through that one intermediary. Intermediaries can place request in bulk for KYC inquiry, and then they can get the status of the KYC, wherein post which they can upload the KYC records, fresh KYC record, as well as modification request in bulk. So that is very important benefit to the intermediary. Now, intermediaries have been provided by NDML KRA with an API. So they can connect with API to us, and through API, everything, the inquiry, the registration, the modification, the download, everything works through API. So API now, basically when we talk of Digital India and when we talk of online KYC, API is the key, wherein the feature is already provided by NDML KRA. This facility is used by many intermediaries. Now, when we talk of unsolicited feeds, so unsolicited feeds is nothing but the latest or the updated KYC record gets downloaded to all the intermediaries which are linked to the KYC record. Now, linked to the KYC record, again, I repeat that the investor who is holding the KYC record has availed service or has approached that intermediaries for availing the service, and they have downloaded the KYC record, they have uploaded the KYC record, they have modified the KYC record. All such intermediaries get the unsolicited feed from NDML KRA, which contains the updated, the latest, the modified KYC data of the investor. So this is very important benefit for the intermediary, wherein all the intermediaries have to talk to only NDML KRA, a single point of contact for getting the updated KYC. Now, as a financial ecosystem or as a marketplace, when we speak of, so what benefits does the market ecosystem or financial ecosystem get from the KRAs? So, uniqueness of the KYC record, as I mentioned, that it identifier is PAN, so it eliminates duplication across all the financial ecosystem. So, whenever you identify a KYC data with PAN, as we all know that since 1 April 2007, SEBI has mandated usage of PAN for opening of demat and trading accounts. Now, this mandate of PAN, now in KRA, the identification of a KYC record with PAN, it really gels with the SEBI mandate, because whenever the investor quotes his PAN, his or her status of KYC record is immediately made available. Now, modification of record are very smoothly effected, wherein the KYC record already exists with any of the KRA. Interoperability is the most important benefit what is being to the marketplace, wherein you are free as an intermediary to approach, as an investor to approach any of the intermediaries registered with SEBI, and they can approach any of the KRAs for conducting the modification, for getting the download of the KYC record, and which helps the marketplace because they don't have to run to any of the 6 KRAs for fetching the data. So any one KRA, that is fine. The API-based connectivity, API-based integration is something which is a boon to the intermediaries, because those who want to really work online in an online manner, and we all know that many brokers, many DPs are working online. After the Corona COVID pandemic in the March 2020, the online thing has evolved, and we Indians have really welcomed that move. So API integration has helped the marketplace a lot, what NDML KRA has provided. And definitely when we talk of online, so it's a green initiative wherein we are moving towards paperless environment, and wherein download of the KYC data happens online, submission of the KYC form with a e-signature without any paper generation is happening online. So that helps to the green initiative of our country. Now we look at the regulatory oversight. As I already mentioned, that NDML KRA is a KYC registered agency, a registration agency which is registered with SEBI. So our regulator is who? Securities Exchange Board of India, and definitely NDML is a 100% subsidiary of NSDL. So NSDL also is a depository which is also registered with SEBI, regulated by SEBI. So here this pyramid what we are seeing. So the oversight from SEBI is, first is the regulation, that is SEBI KRA regulations 2011, and the amendments what we had in April 2002, recent amendments, and in between also we had in 13, and then we had in from 13 to 22 we had one amendment. The recent amendment of 2022 is very, very important, that we will see in detail when we go to the actual KYC verification and validation process at NDML KRA. Second, you can see the audit of systems and procedures is mandated by SEBI. So there are system audits, there are cyber audits, there are process audits, there are operations audit which are mandated by SEBI. So such audits, by way of such audits, SEBI has a strong oversight over KRAs. Now, requirement of a compliance officer. So every KRA has to appoint a compliance officer. That is the most important requirement of SEBI. Then as a NDML KRA, we have a grievance redressal mechanism in place. So when you visit our website kra.ndml.in, so there you can find the grievance officer details, and then you can find the email IDs, you can find the phone numbers where an investor can contact for any grievances. We also have an audit of all the KRA systems and KRA procedures by an independent auditor. There is a VAPT audit requirement at least once in a financial year. So VAPT is any vulnerabilities in NDML KRA system, or for that matter, any KRA system has to get addressed. There are timelines defined by SEBI, and we have to undergo VAPT audit at least once in a financial year. And there is a comprehensive cyber audit twice in a year. So basically, 2 times in a financial year, we have to conduct a comprehensive cyber audit. So when we look at all these measures, what we spoke about, so there is a strong regulatory oversight on KRAs of SEBI. So basically, as I told you, SEBI directions are very clear. SEBI compliances are to be made by the KRAs, and definitely hence every KRA has a uniform method of KYC uploads, KYC downloads, then you can say KYC verification and KYC validation. So it comes from our regulator SEBI, and we have followed the directions of SEBI uniformly. Now this we will talk about little about the future roadmap. Now this roadmap, when I speak here, this we will talk in detail in our next part of the presentation, that is validation of KYC records by NDML KRA. So here most important now the step what has come is NDML KRA, rather all KRAs have to do the source validation of Aadhaar based KYC. So what is source validation? Source validation is nothing but the Aadhaar based KYC or Aadhaar based data, what is being uploaded by the broker or the DP or any intermediary to the KRA, we have to validate it with UIDAI. So basically source is UIDAI, because any data of Aadhaar is provided by UIDAI, is registered with UIDAI, and all KRAs have to validate it with UIDAI. Second most important, PAN Aadhaar linkage verification. Now, first and foremost is we have to validate whether the PAN exists and it is valid. Second most important is it has to link with Aadhaar. So fortunately, Government of India, or you can say Central Board of Direct Taxes, they have extended the deadline of PAN Aadhaar linkage to June 30, 2023. So basically this PAN Aadhaar linkage, if not done by June 30, 2023, the PANs would be discontinued by the income tax department. So the investors or the viewers should be aware that if at all the PAN Aadhaar linkage is not done, they should do it by June 30, 2023. Third most important strengthening what is there is as NDML KRA, we are also verifying the email and mobile using OTP based authentication. So basically whenever your investor's KYC data is uploaded to us, we send an email and mobile SMS to on the email ID and the mobile of the investor, which the investor has to click on the link and verify. So this is also a very important thing, wherein if at all a fake mobile or fake email is entered, that record will not get verified and validated. Now the Aadhaar authentication, what we have been talking about with respect to source validation. So here, when we talk of validation with source, we are validating what? We are validating name of the investor, that is the KYC holder, gender of the KYC holder, photograph of the KYC holder, address of the KYC holder, what we received from the broker as a part of KYC data, or from any intermediary as a part of KYC data, with what we received from UIDAI. So this is something that any Aadhaar based record, whenever a broker or a DP or any intermediary uploads to NDML KRA, we are going to verify these things directly with UIDAI. So it becomes very important that the intermediary uploads the data to NDML KRA on as is basis, wherein it doesn't get invalidated. It has to match with what we receive from UIDAI. And lastly, for strengthening the KYC or the KRA process, e-sign verification is also done. Now, here e-sign verification, I will just try to make it very simple, that there is a KYC form, there is a PAN, there is a proof of identity, there is a proof of address in name of investor A. And if the e-sign is not in the name of investor A and e-sign is issued in the name of investor B, definitely the KYC record is to be marked as on hold or invalid. So KRAs are also matching the name of the e-sign holder with the name of the KYC holder of whom the KYC data is uploaded to the KRA. Now, we are coming to last one or two slides of the talk or the presentation. So here I will talk about NDML KRA data security and controls. Now this is very important as far as, because we are holding KYC data of crores of investors. So we have two-factor authentication. So two-factor authentication is what? One factor authentication is through password, another is through OTP. So for market intermediaries as well as for registrar and transfer agents, we have provided logins on NDML KRA system, and this works on two-factor authentication. The KYC data, whenever the KYC data is to be accessed, to be downloaded, to be inquired, it is only available to authenticated and authorized users. Now, who are these authenticated and authorized users? These are the users which are registered by the respective SEBI registered intermediary with NDML KRA. We have enforced very strong password policy now. As we all know that wherever we have, say, bank account login or mutual fund folio login or any other logins you have. So there is a password policy wherein it talks about keeping a complex password or maybe the passwords to be changed periodically. So we have implemented a very strong password policy. So we have the data which is encrypted with us, so it cannot be accessed in a decrypted format. It requires decryption, and it is safeguarded to an extent that the data theft does not happen. We have a disaster recovery site with equivalent capacity for seamless operation in case of failover. So in case of failover, I mean, if the primary site is down, if there are any issues with our primary site, our DR site is equipped same as our primary site. Now, there are some additional controls which we have implemented as NDML KRA for data security, that is the security of the KYC data. So we have an online securities operations center monitoring to identify and block cyber attacks. So definitely now, as we all know that there are cyber attacks happening in many on many prominent websites. So we have taken this measure wherein we have online security operations center monitoring for identifying and blocking the cyber attacks. So we block the cyber attacks. Then we have WAF to detect and prevent the attacks, exploiting web applications known vulnerabilities in HTTP, HTTPS traffic from internet users. So we have implemented WAF to detect and prevent attacks on this. Then we have DDoS detection and mitigation service from internet service providers for protection against DDoS attacks. Now, all these controls what I have been mentioning here, so maybe all the viewers may not be aware of these controls, but basically what I have been trying to emphasize here is that all these years, NSDL is a data keeper for different projects such as depository, tax information network, or for PFRDA for national pension system. So such controls are inherent for every group company of NSDL. So as far as NDML as a KYC registration agency, we also hold crores of KYC data with us. So all these controls are implemented to safeguard the investor data. Okay, so this safeguarding of investor data is our utmost priority, and we have implemented the data security and controls across our NDML KRA system. Now, some salient features which would like to highlight out here, wherein which relate to NDML KRA. We are serving to more than 1.6 crore investors, wherein 1.3 lakh are non-individuals, and we have more than 4,000 as foreign portfolio investors. Now, there are more than 15 lakh KYC modification requests what we processed in financial year 22-23. We are providing services, KYC services to more than 1650 SEBI registered intermediaries. Now, when the KRA regulations came up in 2011 at the fag end of 2011, we immediately started the services in 2012. So we have multiple interfaces developed for intermediaries. So what are these? These are like through API, then through bulk files or screen-based. Then we have inquiry, registration, KYC download, KYC modification. All these services can be accessed through these three modes, what I mentioned, that is API, bulk, and screen. And IOP, when we say interoperability, so we service interoperability through APIs. So basically, we are connected with every other KRA through API. So all the other five KRAs, NDML KRA is connected through API. So we through which, wherein any time you approach us, we will be able to provide you the inquiry, the download of the KYC data from any other KRA. We are integrated, we are connected with income tax department for PAN checks. So as I told you, verification of PAN, whether it is existing and valid. Second most important, the PAN Aadhaar linkage. Now, dedupe validation across KRAs is implemented by us. So what is dedupe? This is deduplication. So we ensure that any PAN should not be duplicate or should not be held with any other KRA. It should be held with only one KRA. So dedupe validation is done by us. We have, as far as processing of the KYC data, that is verification and validation. So we have the maker checker, which is a dual verification. And we also have implemented systemic verifications as well. So apart from the maker and checker, which are like officials, we have a systemic check which is implemented for verification of PAN, KYC data, KYC form, proof of identity, and proof of address document. As we spoke earlier, that we have a full audit trail of the intermediary user who has accessed, downloaded, registered, or modified the KYC data. As a NDML KRA, we communicate to investors directly on KYC registration. Whenever the KYC gets downloaded, we inform the investor. Whenever the KYC gets modified, we inform the investor directly. We have implemented common KYC registration and download formats. So definitely under guidance of SEBI, under discussion with SEBI, the common KYC registration and download formats are implemented by NDML KRA. And even we have common KYC processing SOPs. So standard operating procedures are there, which are approved by SEBI. And basically NDML tries to see, and we strive hard for providing least inconvenience or the most convenience to the investors as well as intermediaries. And the turnaround time for KYC processing is the lowest for NDML KRA. We try to see to it that the KYC record gets processed in few hours rather than going to say 1 day or 2 days. So if the record, the data, the documents are in line and in order, we strive hard to process the KYC data and validate it in few hours so that the investor can get onboarded with the intermediary and start using the services. So here in this part of the presentation, we dealt with really the evolution, the concept of KRA and the salient features, the regulatory oversight on us, which is something which is very useful for the viewers, wherein to know about the KRA and how really NDML KRA has set up the controls, what are the features available with us, so that they can hold their KYC record with NDML KRA. Now in my second part of the presentation, which is something which is detailed on how really for every type of KYC or every mode of KYC, the KYC data is uploaded, the documents get uploaded, and what really happens at NDML KRA for verification and validation of the KYC record. So we'll start with the part 2 of the presentation now. So actually, warm welcome to the viewers. Basically, now we are going to touch base or touch upon the part 2 of like what I mentioned, that what process of verification and validation is followed by NDML KRA as per the SEBI directions. So here the brief is that the process is being followed since November 1, 2022. So in my last presentation, when we looked at the strengthening of KYC system or the strengthening of the KRA system, so there we mentioned on source validation by NDML KRA for Aadhaar based records. Now this is something what is implemented since November 1, 2022 as per SEBI guidelines. Now here the difference in Aadhaar as OVD and non-Aadhaar as OVD. Now what is OVD? OVD is nothing but officially valid document. OVD long form is officially valid document. So as per Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2022, so there are officially valid documents such as Aadhaar, then passport, driving license, voter's ID card, or we can call it election card. There is NPR register card, that is National Population Register card. And lastly, there is Manarega card, that is Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme card. So basically, when we look at capital market, when we look at securities market, so generally, I would say that there are 4 OVDs or officially valid documents which are used. That is, those are Aadhaar, passport, then driving license, and voter's ID card or election card. Now here in this, I have tried to explain that what has become different from November 1, 2022. So when we say that NDML KRA is doing the validation, NDML KRA is doing the verification and validation for Aadhaar based records. So we'll see one by one what has changed, what has remained unchanged, what remains constant for the intermediary as well as the investor. So as far as investor is concerned, there is no change in the process for KYC. KYC process remains the same. Investor has to provide the KYC application form, he has to provide the PAN, he has to provide the proof of identity and proof of address out of Aadhaar, passport, election card and driving license, which are the officially valid documents as per PMLA 2002. Now we talk from the point of view of SEBI registered intermediaries. So first is KYC data upload format. Now what is this format? This format is the format in which the KYC data has to be uploaded by the SEBI registered intermediary to NDML KRA. So for Aadhaar as a OVD, there is no change. For non-Aadhaar as a OVD, there is no change in the format. Now, when we come to document upload, now document upload, as I told you, what is to be uploaded? KYC application form, PAN, proof of identity, and proof of address. So here, for Aadhaar based records, what is to be uploaded? The PAN is to be uploaded, KYC application form has to be uploaded, and a clear image of Aadhaar card with a QR code. Now, why QR code clear image is required, we'll see in next slides. But this is what is to be uploaded for Aadhaar based KYC record. Whenever there is a non-Aadhaar based KYC record or the KYC is done on any non-Aadhaar officially valid document, there is no change. You have to upload the PAN and the clear images of proof of identity and proof of address. Now, source KYC file upload. Now, when we looked at our last part of the presentation, wherein for strengthening of the KYC, what was there? There has to be a KYC which has to be validated with the source. So when we talk of Aadhaar, what is the source? The source is nothing but UIDAI. Because for all the citizens of this country, the KYC data with respect to Aadhaar is held with UIDAI. So whenever we talk of source KYC data, so what files are to be uploaded? Either it can be an offline Aadhaar XML file, which an investor downloads and provides to the SEBI registered intermediary from UIDAI website, or it can be a DigiLocker XML file, which anyway is fetched by the investor through online mechanism from DigiLocker and provided to the respective SEBI registered intermediary. In case of non-Aadhaar, there is no such file involved. There is no additional upload required. Now, KYC inquiry. When we talk of KYC inquiry, the format in which the inquiry has to be done, there is no change. Even the download format. Now, when we talk of KYC inquiry format, the output of the inquiry, what is received, now there is one more addition in that, that is KYC validated. So basically, the status of the KYC, one more status of the KYC has increased for Aadhaar based records, that is KYC validated. For non-Aadhaar based record, there is no change in the KYC status, and a verified KYC stands at status KYC registered. Now, in the download also the same thing will happen, because whenever you download a KYC data, whenever an intermediary downloads the KYC data, there is one more status, that is KYC validated, which is included in the download format, whereas there is no change in the KYC download for non-Aadhaar KYC records. Now, there was a SEBI circular issued way back in last year on 6th April 2022, wherein SEBI has directed KRAs to validate different attributes, wherein these attributes are Aadhaar details, PAN details, email and mobile, wherein Aadhaar is submitted as a proof of address or the officially valid document. So this is to be done by the KRAs. Validation of such Aadhaar based records is applicable for any record uploaded on or after November 1, 2022, as well as this validation has also to be done for KYC records which are uploaded till 31st October 2022. Now, here you can see the type of mode of KYC and the official valid document. So type or mode of KYC is provided in the table, and what is the officially valid document which is provided, and what all validations or checks are done by NDML KRA is depicted. Now we take the first, that is DigiLocker KYC or offline Aadhaar KYC. Now these are the two modes of KYC. What are these two modes? DigiLocker KYC or offline Aadhaar KYC. So here this KYC is done based on what? DigiLocker KYC is done based on an XML file downloaded from DigiLocker by the investor, which is an online download and provided to the respective SEBI registered intermediary. Offline Aadhaar KYC is again an offline Aadhaar XML file which is downloaded by the investor or the Aadhaar holder and provided to the SEBI registered intermediary. So here we validate the email, we validate mobile, we validate the PAN, we validate date of birth, gender, photo and address from UIDI. That is whatever XML file is provided to us by the SEBI registered intermediary, which is digitally signed by DigiLocker or UIDI. We will validate these details from that file. And as per the SEBI directions, the SEBI registered intermediary, that is SRI, can allow the transactions only after the KYC records gets validated. So when we mark the KYC record as registered and validated, so definitely the transactions can start for that investor. Now we move for a normal or digital we can say as a video KYC, wherein Aadhaar card scan image with QR code is provided by the investor. So this is again these processes are involving Aadhaar. So here also we will be validating PAN, email, mobile, and from the Aadhaar QR code, we will scan the QR code on the image of the Aadhaar, what is there. After scanning, we will verify the date of birth, gender, photograph and address, what we get as a result of scanning of the QR code with what is uploaded in the KYC data by the intermediary. So definitely the post validation by NDML KRA, the investors can start the transactions. Now we talk of the mode of KYC wherein non-Aadhaar is provided as a officially valid document, that is passport, driving license and voter's ID card or election card. Definitely the intermediaries can also accept NPR, that is National Population Registered Identity Card, or from the Manarega, that is National Rural Employment Guarantee, there is a card issued to the citizen of this country. So that can also be a OVD as per PMLA Act 2002. So we will continue the verification on as-is basis of the KYC data with the proof of identity and address data what is provided or uploaded by the SEBI registered intermediary. Here there is no change in the existing process. Now when I say there is no change, that means the KYC processing will be done by the KRA, NDML KRA, and the transactions can continue for the investor as far as non-Aadhaar based KYC record is concerned. Now we will look at the flow of KYC validations at NDML KRA. So these flows are something which will give you more idea and in-depth idea of how really for each mode of KYC or each type of KYC, the validation work. So here, this slide depicts on two modes of KYC. So first is physical mode, second is digital mode. Now when we say physical mode, physical means the investor is submitting every document in paper form which is self-attested, and these documents are original, OSV, original, seen and verified by the authorized official of the SEBI registered intermediary. So here in physical also we can have two cases. One is wherein proof of identity and address is a non-Aadhaar document, and another is proof of identity and address is a Aadhaar. So basically the SEBI registered intermediary continues to upload the KYC data with PAN, POI and POA to NDML KRA, or the KYC mode in this is normal. Now here also whenever there is a Aadhaar based document, here also the KYC mode will be normal. When there is a physical submission of document, then irrespective of whether the POI, POA is Aadhaar or a non-Aadhaar, the type of KYC is normal, in which the SEBI registered intermediary uploads the data to us. Now here what they have to upload as a document, the PAN plus KYC application form plus the proof of identity and proof of address. Now in case of Aadhaar based record, so here the mode of KYC or type of KYC is normal, and when the OVD is Aadhaar, we will send a link on mobile and email ID what is uploaded by the SEBI registered intermediary to us. Now the investor email and investor mobile which receives such link, when they click on the link, they can validate the email and mobile through OTP. Now let me tell you that SEBI has permitted that if the OTP based validation is not done by the investor for any reason, so KRA can rely on the delivery of that email or delivery of the SMS based on which the email and mobile number can be marked as validated by NDML KRA. And now we will validate when we scan the QR code for the Aadhaar based record, whatever so the scanning of the Aadhaar card has to be very proper. And when we scan the QR code on that image of Aadhaar, so we will be validating the date of birth, photo, gender, and address, what we receive from the QR code extraction or QR code scanning with what KYC data is uploaded by the SEBI registered intermediary. And once this verification and validation is complete with respect to PAN, email, mobile, and Aadhaar data, the KYC record will get marked as validated as far as where Aadhaar is a OVD. Now we move to the second mode of KYC, which is digital. Now digital is fully online, fully electronic. Now here again, two cases. Whenever we have digital, either the proof of identity or address is Aadhaar, or proof of identity and address is non-Aadhaar. So here also the same thing continues, wherein we are going. So when we talk of digital mode of KYC, this is nothing but a video mode of KYC, wherein in a video, normally the investor is made to hold his PAN like this on the screen. Then the photo is clicked. Then the investor is told to hold the Aadhaar or any non-Aadhaar OVD on the screen for which the photo is clicked. So try to see that the investor holds this in a proper fashion so that the clear image is captured in the online system, and then the clear image gets uploaded to the KRA, that is NDML KRA. So here also the validations are same, that we validate PAN, we validate email, we validate mobile, and we validate date of birth, gender, photograph, and address from the Aadhaar image what you have uploaded after scanning of the QR code. And then if all the things match with the KYC data which is uploaded by the SEBI registered intermediary, the KYC records is marked as validated and you can start the transaction. This is as per the SEBI directions. Now, when we talk of digital mode or online mode, there are two more modes what we are referring here, that is DigiLocker KYC and offline Aadhaar KYC. As I have already mentioned, that DigiLocker mode of KYC is nothing but the investor downloads the XML file of his Aadhaar from DigiLocker, provides it to the SEBI registered intermediary. So here only change is SEBI registered intermediary has to upload the PAN and the KYC application form duly signed. Now, in this case, when it is online mechanism, definitely all these forms will have a e-signature. And one more additional upload is to be done, that is DigiLocker XML file, which is digitally signed by DigiLocker. So here, SEBI registered intermediary continues to upload whatever they upload in normal and digital mode of KYC. Apart from that, they have to upload the source XML file what is received from DigiLocker. Then when we move to the mode offline Aadhaar XML, here the XML file changes. In earlier mode, the file came from DigiLocker. In this, the investor downloads this offline Aadhaar XML from the UIDAI website, and this file is digitally signed by UIDAI. This file also is to be provided by the SEBI registered intermediary to NDML KRA. Now, when we talk of PAN, email, mobile, and DOB, gender, photo, and address validations. So these validations remain the same. Only thing is here we don't have any QR code for scanning. We validate the data of Aadhaar, what is in XML file and what is uploaded by the SEBI registered intermediary to NDML KRA. So here the clear validation from the source is either through DigiLocker XML file or through offline Aadhaar XML file. Now here, let me tell you that most of the records today are happening through DigiLocker or offline Aadhaar XML for the simple reason that post-corona pandemic, every broker, every DP, every PMS provider and any other intermediary has moved to online mode of onboarding the investor, which has helped the investor to get onboarded easily and very fast. So these are two more modes what we have seen now. Now, as we mentioned in our earlier presentation, that there are three modes: screen-based in bulk, and third is API-based. Now, API-based is something which is the basic mode or which is the mode for SEBI registered intermediaries to connect with NDML KRA, because it makes their life easy. Whenever a transaction happens and whenever the onboarding of the investor is happening, immediately after the investor completes the transaction, the KYC data along with the form and the documents can get uploaded on real-time basis to NDML KRA through API. So API is the key for faster processing of the KYC record at NDML KRA, wherein once the record is received, SEBI has given us 2 days after all the data and documents are received by us or the XML files are received by us, but we have been providing the validation of the KYC record in few hours after the whole thing gets uploaded. So that is good for even the intermediaries and of course the investors. Now there are some value added services for KYC validation what we have come up with. So these value added services are also very important when we look at the faster processing TAT, turnaround time for a KYC record. Now, first and foremost value added services, server to server based API integration for KYC validation. Now this S2S based API integration is very important, wherein for brokers and DPs who are having online system of onboarding, they don't want the investor to move from the page of the respective broker or the respective DP. So here there is a integration between NDML KRA and the respective broker or the DP server to server, wherein our server talks to their server, it gets connected to their server, and the investor is not aware about it. The investor has the same experience of the user interface, or user experience remains the same for the investor because he stays on the respective broker or DP's website. Now here what happens, that PAN, email and mobile. Now, as we all know that any first step of onboarding online an investor is entry of PAN, email, mobile. So PAN, email, mobile number entry happens on the website of the respective broker or the DP which has integrated with NDML KRA. And based on the server to server integration, we exchange the information gets exchanged and we send the OTP or the link on this email and mobile, and we validate the PAN. So PAN also gets validated by NDML KRA, as well as the email and mobile link. The link is sent on the email and mobile via SMS, wherein OTP based validation is done. We provide the OTP to the investor. The OTP is entered by the investor on the website of the respective DP or the broker. And once it gets validated, the further process of onboarding at the broker end or the DP end with respect to terms and conditions, some other information, income range, all these things happen and the investor gets onboarded. Now here, what is very important is whenever the KYC data of such investor is uploaded by the intermediary to us. So already PAN, email, mobile is validated. Now there is a DigiLocker XML which is provided, or either offline Aadhaar XML is provided, that we have implemented maker checker plus the systemic verification measures in our system, wherein the date of birth, gender, photograph and address of the investor gets, whatever is uploaded in the KYC data gets matched with what is available in XML file. So this server to server based integration gives an edge, wherein at the entry only, whenever the investor is getting onboarded, PAN, email, mobile is getting validated by NDML KRA, and the Aadhaar based data will get validated subsequently once the KYC record gets uploaded to us, and which makes the TAT of processing of the KYC record at NDML, which is maybe few hours, maybe couple of hours, and then immediately the KYC record gets validated and the transactions for the investor can start immediately with the SEBI registered intermediary. Now, second module what is developed is redirection based integration, wherein in this what happens that whenever an investor visits a broker or the DP website for online onboarding, he gets redirected to NDML KRA. On the NDML KRA URL, the investor enters the PAN, email, mobile, and the same thing happens that we validate the PAN, we send the OTP to email, we send the OTP to mobile number, and we validate all three details and we provide a response, and we send back the investor to the respective broker or DP website, and he can continue his online onboarding journey further. So any journey further, such as providing income information or signing of some terms and condition document or a do's and don'ts document, so all these things get completed. And here what is happening again, PAN email mobile is validated and rests in NDML KRA database. So once the SEBI registered intermediary uploads the KYC data, so PAN email mobile is already validated. We validate the data what is uploaded, such as DOB, gender, then address with UIDI. So gender, DOB, photo and address is validated. What is uploaded and what is available in the XML file gets validated. So here also the TAT is reduced drastically for KYC processing. Here SEBI registered intermediaries can get the KYC processed in few hours, or maybe I can say less than 1 hour. And after that, the transactions with the investor can start immediately. So these value-based APIs we have provided. Now, third is something wherein it's a push API or an intimation API. Now, what is this API? Here, investor is visiting the SEBI registered intermediary website or the portal for opening the account. Whenever the investor enters PAN email mobile, immediately a push API is triggered, wherein this information of PAN email mobile of the investor is pushed to NDML KRA. So what happens? NDML KRA receives this information and NDML KRA triggers the links on the email and mobile, and we validate the PAN. So here what happens, that PAN email mobile gets validated before the actual KYC data is uploaded by the SRI to NDML. So here what is happening, that immediately on entry PAN email mobile, the SRI has to push that data to us, and there is an API developed for it. So SEBI registered intermediaries can avail this API, wherein once this data is received by us, we start the process of validation of PAN email mobile, and which helps the SRI whenever they upload the actual KYC data of that PAN holder to us. So this validation is already done, and only validation pending is with respect to DOB, gender, photo and address, what is uploaded by the intermediary and what is available in the XML files with respect to eKYC done through DigiLocker or eKYC done through offline Aadhaar XML. And then the KYC record, the TAT of the KYC record processing is like 1 hour or less than 1 hour, and then subsequently the transactions of the investor can start immediately, as the record will get marked as KYC validated by NDML KRA. So that these three APIs what we saw are the important value added services what NDML has developed, and SRIs can avail these APIs to make the TAT of KYC processing minimal or close to zero, so that the investors can start their transactions immediately. Now, when we talk of KYC validation for records which are uploaded before 31st October, so we have on our portal, we have provided a link. So on kra.ndml.in, on this portal, there is a link of KYC validation. So any investor can visit and validate his KYC record, whichever is there. So investor can enter the OTP for email, the OTP for mobile, and whereas PAN gets validated, and then his KYC record will get validated with respect to SEBI directions, and these are all Aadhaar based records. So even the investor on the link can perform DigiLocker based KYC, wherein NDML KRA has integrated with DigiLocker for the same. So they can do this DigiLocker based eKYC, wherein the KYC record gets validated. Now, most important thing when we talk of is support, because see, NDML KRA is providing services to the SEBI registered intermediaries by validating, verifying the KYC record. But the support, whichever is required, what is from our side, we are providing the contacts out here. So there are three different, sections with respect to this. So one is something wherein for API integration and any errors faced in API based or screen based testing. So we have these three officials which are displayed on the screen with their email IDs and mobile numbers. So basically these three are, you can say that these three people can be contacted. Another three are for establishing connectivity. I mean, this is more relevant. These top two at the top are more relevant from SEBI registered intermediary point of view, because this relates to API integration, this relates to testing, this relates to any errors faced by the SEBI registered intermediaries for uploads. Now, from investor point of view, the bottom column, wherein for queries related to processing or status update, so we have provided the contacts, we have an exclusive help desk with email ID and the contact numbers are provided. Even for the other three, the escalation is there. So there are three officials wherein their email IDs and mobile numbers and landline numbers are provided. So this is more relevant from investor point of view, but definitely SEBI registered intermediaries can also contact our help desk and officials for processing of KYC records or status update. So these are the contacts. So basically NDML KRA, it is our endeavor to process the KYC records by not taking Aadhaar-based, for Aadhaar-based KYC records by not taking 2 days what is specified by SEBI. We want to process it in few hours. We have provided different value-added API integrations for the SEBI registered intermediaries, and we are committed for servicing all the investors by validating their KYC data. Thank you. Thank you so much.